Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience. We discuss ways how we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. I am Ken Bader, your host for Branding the Experience, and our subject for this episode is the downward spiral. Now, many of you know I've taken a little break from both Branding the Experience and Cool Culture Corner for a couple months. I think sometimes it's good to have a little hiatus, go away from a project for a little bit, and then come back to it with a new perspective. Most importantly, a new energy, which I hope that you'll see in both of these shows, both this YouTube show and the podcast that I mentioned, Cool Culture Corner. But as always, my personal customer and consumer experiences always seem to bring me great examples of branding the experience as well as culture building. And unfortunately, this one isn't necessarily a positive one. While I was on my little break from these shows, I had the opportunity to go with some old friends on a guy's trip, something that we've been doing for decades now. And this particular trip included a visit to Atlantic City, a place where most of us either had never been or hadn't spent a lot of time. And one of the things that we kept hearing on the days leading up to our trip was, Atlantic City isn't quite what it used to be. Isn't Atlantic City dying? And I said, well, I've heard some reports of that. I don't know per se. I haven't been there in 10 years or so, but we're going to check it out and see how it is. And, while we did have a great time, and there were some very positive experiences, probably the highlight was Ramsey's Steakhouse and Harrah's, great service, great food. Definitely a shout out to them for branding the experience. But the resort that we were at, which was one of the higher end ones, as well as a couple of the other restaurants that we frequented or visited during that trip, lent credence to Atlantic City's going down. And I want to talk about the downward spiral. And it's not just simply when an organization is getting beaten down. In this case, when a whole region or city or area is beaten down, it has an effect on people. And both at the resort and a couple of the restaurants, I felt that one of the things that we've talked about on this show, that the employees just didn't want to be there. It was pretty obvious from a number of them, whether it was the bar at the resort taking a half an hour to get a simple drink to us, or at one of the restaurants on the boardwalk, basically telling us that a quarter of the items on their menu weren't available. That's always scary to me, because either somebody's really dropping the ball on ordering food, or the place is closing down. Both of them, very scary to me. And then, of course, we got the food, and it was painfully average. I felt sorry for that waitress who was trying to give good service and was trying to overcome so many obstacles. But the downward spiral, it was definitely clear in that it seemed like since Atlantic City had this reputation, this brand association of no longer being a great place or being a region or a vacation spot that was on the decline, I seem to sense that from a lot of the service employees, in that, well, nobody wants to be here anyway, so why do I need to put my best foot forward? I'm going to get a paycheck anyway for now until this place goes under. Why do I need to go the extra mile? Which is unfortunate. I will say that one person in particular at this resort while we're at the pool, truly busted her behind to give great service at the pool, both for drinks and food. And I even commented to her, you should run customer service at this resort because you're one of the few people that has given us it exceeds expectations experience. She smiled and, of course, got a very good tip for her great service and the experience that she created. But The thing that we can learn from this is whether it's an organization or in this case a region, once we start getting that negative thinking, that negative association with a place, with an area, it affects our employees. And you wind up with that downward spiral, which is very difficult to stop. It can be stopped. My suggestion, if you find that in your organization, the best way to begin stopping the downward spiral is with engagement, with movement. Much like they say in psychological realms with depression, the real cure for that, other than just filling people with drugs or talking to them, is to encourage and even push movement. Taking a walk, doing something else, getting outside, to be able to have that movement, because as physics teaches us, something in motion tends to stay in motion, and that's a positive thing. So if you find yourself in an organization, company, business that is on that downward spiral, try to force involvement, start committees, do something else to create a change in the downward spiral, even if it's just moving the needle a little bit up on the upward spiral. Do it, because that movement, even on a small scale, will help you get out of that negative downward spiral. Thank you for spending some time with me today. And as always, here's hoping that you're branding the experience at your unique business at a very high level. Take care.
Now a word from our sponsor, Bader Training and Consulting. BTC is the creator of the B+C+S formula. Our clients that implement that formula increase their net income by 124% and grow their business by 17% on average. The best place to start working with Bader Training and Consulting is with our B+C+S audit. The service pinpoints issues as well as attributes of your business's unique brand, culture, and strategy. Learn more or sign up for a B+C+S audit at www.btcinc.net/BCS-audit.